Well, this one, it's the luck of the draw. It's got University of Bristol against University of Bristol. We've got the A crew on the far side and the B crew near side.
This is always quite an interesting dynamic, isn't it, Matt, when you've got an A crew and a B crew in the same heat, particularly so early on in the regatta.
Yeah, and it is absolutely the luck of the draw. 80 entries to this, which is the Temple event, the student men's 8s event. 80 entries, 32 of them get to race, and yeah, it's literally drawn out of the cup. And unfortunately, these guys find themselves racing each other in the first round. So, if you're the B crew, how do you approach a race against the A crew?
Well, I think that this will be where insight into how fast each of these crews is. So, if you've got an A crew and a B crew who's significantly different in speed, then because of the one-on-one nature of Henley Regatta, anything can happen. We say every year, anything can happen, and it's an outdoor sport. So if I'm the B crew, I know that once I'm down by clear water, that's a very challenging place to beat my A crew. So the only strategy if I'm in the B crew is that I need to go out with a really aggressive start, establish a high race pace for as long as possible.
So A crew off to a commanding start. We're going to join the race further down the course live now, and well, we can see they've opened that up a little bit further, coming through towards the mile marker.
Yeah, what I love about this shot is seeing Bristol A and Bristol B. Bristol B really giving everything they possibly can down to that course, maximising their Henley race. I think in previous years we've sometimes seen crews be a little bit more strategic about their energy conservation. But for me, what I love seeing about this is Bristol B maximising their Henley time and trying to get the fastest race from A to B as possible. And
how great for Bristol University to have two crews here in the student event. Only 32 crews competing, and from their boathouse there on the Avon, halfway between Bristol and Bath at Salford, these guys would have been training really, really hard. And you can see there the contrast, I guess, between the A and the B crew. That position sitting ahead, like we saw in some of the other races this morning, position of more relaxed, more commanding, but still pretty powerful.
Yeah, and I think at a wider level, for me, this is really important and positive for British university rowing. We can see a huge entry in the Temple. It's really lovely to see some of the fantastic universities. Look at that shot of Bristol A, just really getting really nice, strong, powerful strokes in.
Yeah, so that's the B crew there, which has got the bucket rig, like we talked about, the bucket rig where you have two oars on the same side in succession. The standard classic way is the A crew has got alternate one and other side of the boat with the oars. This one's got a couple in the middle joined up. Now, there's technically, supposedly, a theory that if you have the two ends of the boat on the same side, it runs a bit straighter. I think that's part of the reason for doing this.
Yeah, and so definitely steering and line is one of them, as you've just described, Matt. I think the other is just the personnel in the boat. So human beings are quite unique individuals, and it just may be the case that those two athletes in that bucket row really nicely together. I always found the bucket very challenging to row, particularly when you're sort of following that spoon into the puddle, that oar going into the puddle of the water. But when you get it right, it can be a really powerful tool if used correctly.
So different ways of tuning the boat and tuning the crews. You can see their lovely shot. You can see a couple of devices strapped to the metal riggers of this boat here. Those are stroke coach devices which give you a chance to get some of the information on boat speed and strokes per minute and so on. And the boat flowing really nicely. How do you judge that?
Yeah, so you can see the lovely shot of the bow ball here in the centre of your picture, and you can see that white Shark Hudson hull just sitting proudly out of the water. And if you cast your eyes up, you can see a red stroke coach on the right and a yellow on the left. Those just giving those athletes the numbers, so there's little communication required. Everyone knows what numbers they're doing, what rate, what power, and what pace.
So University of Bristol A crew, just a little bit of a glance over the shoulder by Benedict Giles, the three-man, seeing where is the finish line, is it going to come through? Well, yes, Ben, it's right here. A crew passing the finish line with grace and ease, and the B crew have thrown everything into it like you'd expect with their close rivals. And, well, rather predictably perhaps, Bristol University's A crew goes through to the next round of the Temple Challenge Cup for student men's 8s.